Well, I'm thinking about our friends um, down in the Gulf Coast that are experiencing Hurricane Laura, and it just feels like day after day, our country has very difficult times. And on a macro level, it feels like, man, how do we even recover from a difficult day? And I've also asked myself that question on a very micro level. How do I recover from a very difficult day? And I wanted to share just some thoughts on using the holy imagination to end a bad day well. I had a friend describe to me something that he was experiencing, and he basically was confronted from by some leaders at his church, and he, it wasn't a they weren't right in confronting him, but he was just sharing that with me, and he had said that he just carried around with them their faces. He just saw their face of displeasure, and as he was describing it, his fists were like this. He was just holding on and seeing their faces as he went about his day, and he was using his imagination even to retrieve that and to review that very difficult part of his day. And usually, I find that a hardened face is behind a difficult day, whether it's myself looking at me, or a friend, or a parent, or even God, thinking that God is looking at me in that way. So I just asked this question, and I feel like I've stumbled upon asking questions with the biblical imagination and understanding this theme. But I asked them this question: Hey, what if you imagine the face of the Lord right there among those other faces that were looking at you with great disgust? Tell me what you see. And there was a long pause. And as he was thinking about it, I noticed that his hands that were clenched were actually beginning to release. And he didn't really have an answer. And I wasn't looking for, like, tell me features, or, it's kind of a weird question. But just the countenance, the biblical imagination, experiencing the countenance of Christ towards us, compassionate face, kind eyes, can potentially change everything for us. And it can change how we end a day. And I've just been thinking about that. The Old Testament points to Jesus, our high priest, and there's this benediction in number 6 that I think is really fascinating and a great word that I wanted to share with you. And it says this: "The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance on you and give you peace." And so, my big question, just in this short few moments here, is what if we used our everyday imagination, our mind's eye, the eyes of our heart? What if we used those to review our hard day alongside of the face of Christ? To review, review, to perhaps see our difficult day alongside of the face of Jesus looking upon us. And it was interesting because that benediction in Numbers was given by the high priest, guess what, at the end of a long day of sacrifice. They would send the people back to their families and bless them, saying, God is looking upon you with favor. And what does that lead to? I just love this. It leads to peace, a holy moment. And peace is said to be, when of God, ununderstandable. It doesn't make sense when it shows up on a very difficult day, but it can for us, especially in the evenings. That His face shines upon you. It's not just forgiveness, but it's favor, and it's wonder, and it's delight. And those things, those ray beams of his face, can stretch into the darkest places of our difficult day. And I just love that, and I wanted to share that. Um, that theme of the face, the smiling face of God, shows up in Psalm 31 and Psalm 80. I encourage you to check those out. But it's like the idea is like a flash of lightning. One Quaker preacher said that the victory of the cross is the smile of God. It's this eternal, timeless uh, flash of a smile towards us who are in Christ. And that's just, to me, that is a great way to end a difficult day. And I just had that experience recently where I went and walked on the trails at Hamilton Lakes. We live by the trails and had a really difficult day. And I was thinking about this. And as I was walking, there's a friend that I hadn't seen in a long time. His name's Ryan Shuping. So Ryan, maybe you'll watch this, but we caught eyes, and I hadn't seen him in years. Went to school with him, and when he saw me, and when he noticed me, a smile flashed across his face, and he stopped, and we talked, and it just made me realize that we can see the face of Christ through other people, and we can carry that with us, and as we end a difficult day, that we can put our head on the pillow and our fists can open up to receive, to receive his countenance towards us, and to have peace. I think that is what we need, even on these difficult days, even watching the news and seeing all the difficulty in our country, to also see alongside of that and review our day, looking upon Christ, looking upon us who sees all things. And man, divine peace, you just can't beat it. So I hope that encourages you. And I do desire to say if we can just take 5 minutes a day and review our difficult day, but also see with the eyes of our heart his countenance towards us, his kind eyes, his peaceful presence looking upon us, boy, that can change an evening after a long day.